In a realm where jagged cliffs pierced the clouds, high above the reach of mortal beings, the story of Orin began. His nest was cradled on the edge of a craggy peak known as Sky's Edge, where only the bold dared to tread. Crafted by his parents with patience and precision, the nest was an intricate weave of twigs, feathers, and mountain herbs. This eyrie overlooked a sprawling wilderness, forests that whispered secrets, rivers that glittered like silver, and valleys cradled like silver, Legend spread that he had once discarded a sky, seeing, sight, listen, and made sounds beyond the physics. In a realm where jagged cliffs pierced the clouds, high above the reach of mortal beings, the story of Auron began. His nest was cradled on the edge of a craggy peak known as Sky's Edge, where only the bold dared to tread. Crafted by his parents with patience and precision, the nest was an intricate weave of twigs, feathers, and mountain herbs. This eyrie overlooked a sprawling wilderness, forests that whispered secrets, rivers that glittered like silver, and valleys that mirrored the ceiling to unnecessary and fantastic detail. Each Sky's Edge was not easy. The winds howled relentlessly, and predators like snow leopards and lynxes prowled below, their eyes always scanning for a moment of weakness. Orin's first challenge came when he was barely a month old. A storm raged through the mountains, its icy winds threatening to tear the nest apart. As Talon and Zephyr shielded their young with their bodies, Orin peeked out from beneath their wings, his sharp eyes catching the flashes of lightning. Even then, his gaze held a spark of courage. When Auron was old enough to spread his wings, Zephyr led him to the precipice of the nest. Below stretched a dizzying drop into a canyon where the river thundered far below. "The skies do not grant freedom," she said, her voice steady. "They demand respect." With a push, she sent Auron plummeting into the abyss. The air roared in his ears, and panic gripped him. But instinct took over. His wings snapped open, and for the first time he felt the wind beneath him. It was a fleeting moment of exhilaration before he floundered, flapping wildly to regain balance. Zephyr swooped down, guiding him back to the safety of the cliffs. Day by day, Auron grew stronger. He learned to ride thermals, those invisible currents that lifted him effortlessly into the heavens. Talon taught him to dive. His powerful talons extended as they hunted hares and fish in the valleys below. But the most important lesson was patience. "The skies are a mirror," Talon told him. "They reflect your spirit. Fly with purpose, and they will carry you. Fly with doubt, and they will betray you." One crisp morning, when the frost clung to the rocks, Orin spotted a shadow moving across the valley floor. It was a mountain goat, grazing near a steep cliff. Talon nodded at his son, giving him permission to make his first solo hunt. Orin's heart raced as he climbed higher into the sky, his wings slicing through the cold air. With the sun at his back, he dove silently, the wind hissing around him. But just as he extended his talons, the goat leapt away, its hooves finding impossible purchase on the sheer rock face. Auron crashed into the ground, stunned and humiliated. From a distance, he heard Talon's cry, not of disappointment, but of encouragement. "Rise, Auron. The skies demand persistence." Shaking off the failure, Auron returned to the hunt. This time, He observed the goat carefully, waiting for the perfect moment. When he finally struck, it was with precision and grace, his talons gripping the prize firmly. As he soared back to the nest, pride swelled within him. He had earned his place as a hunter. Seasons passed, and Auron grew into a magnificent eagle, his golden feathers gleaming in the sunlight. He was a master of the skies, but a strange restlessness began to stir within him. One night, under a canopy of stars, a sound broke the stillness. A low, mournful cry that seemed to come from the heavens themselves. The elders of the mountains whispered of the cry of the Sky King, a call heard only by the chosen. It was said to come from the ancient spirits of the eagles, summoning the bravest to protect the balance of nature. Auron couldn't ignore it. The cry resonated deep within him, awakening a sense of purpose he couldn't yet understand. Auron left the familiar peaks of Sky's Edge, embarking on a journey into the unknown. His flight carried him over vast landscapes, endless forests where wolves howled beneath the moonlight, deserts where serpents slithered beneath the sand, and oceans that stretched to the horizon. Along the way, he faced challenges that tested his strength and wit. In a dense jungle, he was ambushed by a flock of harpy eagles, jealous of his golden plumage. Outnumbered, Auron used his agility to outmaneuver them, darting through the trees until he reached open skies. In the tundra, he battled freezing winds and scarce prey, relying on his endurance to survive. Each trial shaped him, honing not just his physical abilities, but also his spirit. He learned the language of the winds, the subtle shifts that foretold storms or led him to safety. He forged bonds with other creatures, a dolphin who guided him across treacherous seas, a bear who shared its catch during a harsh winter, and a raven who provided wisdom cloaked in riddles. After months of travel, Orin reached the source of the cry, a desolate desert where a colossal storm raged endlessly. The winds howled like wild beasts, and lightning danced across the sky. At the storm's center was an ancient vortex, said to be the wrath of a forgotten sky god. Auron hesitated. The storm was unlike anything he had faced, but the mark of the Sky King, a glowing feather bestowed by the elder eagles, pulsed with energy, urging him forward. With a cry that echoed across the desert, Auron dove into the chaos. The winds tore at his feathers, and the lightning blinded him, but Auron focused on the rhythm of the storm, finding its pattern. He flew in harmony with the tempest, circling closer and closer to its heart. When he reached the vortex, he unleashed a piercing scream that shattered the storm's core. The skies fell silent, and the desert was bathed in golden light. Auron returned to Sky's Edge as a hero, his story spreading across the wilderness. He was no longer just a hunter or a flyer. He was the Sky King, a guardian of balance and a symbol of resilience. The elders welcomed him into their council, and the younger eagles looked to him with awe. But Auron's journey didn't end there. He continued to soar across the lands, answering the cry whenever it called. His golden feathers became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the face of nature's fiercest challenges, courage and perseverance could prevail. And so, the legend of Auron, the Sky King, lived on, carried by the winds and etched into the hearts of all who dared to look to the skies.